what I'm going to be talking about is it's a way to look at the moon that really isn't dependent on Western or Vedic astrology. It's actually based on where the planets are actually placed in the chart, whether it's the tropical zodiac or the sidereal zodiac. And I really do a lot of work that way. And I think, actually, as Dennis alluded to, there are a lot of Vedic astrologers who I think somewhat drop the ball a little bit. It's like you never hear them talking about transits or something. And there's nothing like when a planet transits another planet. For instance, like when a transiting planet hits a natal planet, something's going to happen. And similarly, when you look at a birth chart and you see the spatial relationship between, let's say, the moon and like a planet that rises before the moon or after the moon, it's going to tell you something. And it doesn't really matter which zodiac you're using or anything. It's going to be a very specific type of result. So, by the way, if you all can look in your binders at the sheet that says Moon Yogas, that's what I'll be talking about. That has the information. I can get a cool thing to put up here. I'm sorry, but just talk a little bit about the moon first. You know, the sun is the archetype of sort of masculine energy, or expressed, radiant solar energy is the sort of the engine that drives our mind and drives our body and drives our life. We all sort of know that as Western astrologers. It's very sun sign driven. But the moon, I think sometimes it's a little less clear what's happening. It's sort of the emotions, sort of the feelings. But you really want to look at the moon, at least as I've seen it, as the archetypical feminine nature, our capacity to integrate, to receive, to feel. And that quality of integration is very important in Vedic teaching, because in many ways this is why we suffer in life, because we don't feel integrated. We have these unintegrated parts. So the moon is really shows those unintegrated parts and our desire and our capacity to integrate and to feel integrated. And so you'll see that the moon, it is very exalted in Vedic astrology, and in fact when people talk about their dasha, they're generally talking about their Vinchotri Mahadasha, which is sort of the preferred dasha in Vedic astrology, and it's based on the moon. And it's a very important one, and the reason that this one is so important is because it shows what the mind is going to be gravitating toward, and if you can read the mind and the impressions rising in the mind, you'll be able to tell what the person will wind up doing. This is why Vinchotri dasha is probably the most preferred in Vedic astrology, because you're essentially reading the mind of the person. And what are called the samskaras, which means the mental impressions that have been created from our karma. And this is a very sort of transpersonal or universal quality of Vedic astrology that's really built into it on a foundational level, that we're all spiritual beings that come here. And when you look at the chart, you're really reading the mental impressions and the samskaras that are awakening in the person's consciousness at different times. And based on that, they take these actions, and based on that, things sort of move forward. So when we assess moon yogas or anything related to the moon, we're essentially reading the mind. And you think your clients would like you to be able to read their mind and know how they're feeling. Well, they really do. It's very valuable when you can look at a person and really know what their mind is gravitating toward, how they feel while they're experiencing their feelings, and how they try to integrate their feelings. So this is why this says that when we assess moon yogas, it's assessing the capacity to receive, to feel, and to integrate. These are the things that the moon does. So, this is quite a brief presentation, and this will work with basically any zodiac. You want to look at planets that rise before the moon. This would be in the 12th sign from the moon, to see how the person is, what their mind is going to gravitate toward. And when I say mind, I mean the heart mind, which is, again, it's sort of different from from Western astrology. We think a little bit, not much. We mainly feel. We're mainly feeling beings. And in the Vedic system, the moon refers to that quality of mind, or manas is what it's called, which is the feeling, thinking, substance process. It's sort of what we're all kind of gravitating toward, how we're feeling. That's what the moon shows.